Hi everyone, Aidan here with eTrailer. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Yakima EXO SwingAway ski and snowboard carrier with the enclosed cargo carrier attachment and seeing how it fits on our 2021 Jeep Grand Cherokee L. Now right away I do want to point out that the EXO system is a very unique hitch-mounted carrier system. It's going to be completely modular, and this kit features the two shelves with the two accessories you see here, the enclosed carrier box on the bottom and the ski carrier up top. But that's not your only option. There's tons of other kits on our website, and you can buy all the accessories separately too. So if you want to build your own kit, you can, or if you want to go with one of the other kits like this one, and then add to it later on, you can do that too. This whole thing is designed to be completely modular. So in the summer, if we decide we want to swap this ski carrier out for a bike rack or a camp kitchen, we can. If we want to put an extra box on top to have even more storage space, we can do that too. The possibilities are really endless, and there's a lot that you can do with this system. This is going to be just our look at this particular kit and seeing how it fits on the Grand Cherokee L. Now, like the name suggests, this is a swing-away system. You can see it's taking up a good amount of room at the back of our vehicle right here, but if I come in towards the hitch, there's going to be this hand knob that I can loosen. It's very large and easy to turn and unthread. Once that's fully unthreaded from the swing-away arm, we can pull the pin that's right next to it and push the whole carrier away. That's going to allow us to fold this out at a 90-degree angle, allowing for full access to the back of our Jeep. That's going to let us get back here to any extra cargo. Maybe we've got something that doesn't fit within the weight capacity of the carrier, or we just have some other things back here in addition to what's in the box already. We have full access to it, and we don't have to worry about sacrificing that functionality of our vehicle. This locks in at that 90-degree angle right here, so you don't have to worry about it getting folded in unless we go back to it and pull that pin, which I'll leave there for now. You might also be asking yourself how you get to the box. With it on the bottom shelf here, obviously the lid's going to be blocked. Now at the top, there's going to be a threaded hand knob that I've already removed and a locking pin in the center that secures the top shelf in place. Once those are both removed, I can swing the whole thing around 180 degrees. I can repin it if I want to and if I want to keep it secure, but this essentially lets us open up the box and get to everything inside. Let me just unlock it, pop the lid open, and you can see there's plenty of clearance here. And the nice thing about this is even with our skis in place, we still have tons of room between them and our vehicle, even with them offset to this side a little bit. These are 160 centimeter skis, so just use that as a frame of reference for your own skis, and just know that you can offset them to one side to make this clearance a little bit better. But for our setup today, there's plenty of room. To bring it back in, like I mentioned before, just pull that pin and start to swing it back in. It all moves very smoothly back into place, and we can just re-secure it with that initial pin and that threaded hand knob. Now I will say while I'm doing this, if you do plan on leaving it in that extended position for a long period of time, maybe we get to wherever we're staying, we swing it out and have a sort of base camp set up, maybe for camping, then you would want to use the included support arm to put underneath the arm there, just because with all that weight so far out from the hitch, it does create a bit of an odd angle and put a lot of pressure on the hitch, and that's just designed to help relieve that stress. Now honestly, with the ski carrier combo, you're probably not going to be using this at a campsite, but like I said, if you decide to swap out those accessories in the summertime and use it for camping, that's probably where you're going to use that. Now let's talk about some specs for the pieces in this kit. The box underneath is going to be 10 cubic feet of storage space. It is locking like we saw before, and it can hold 100 pounds on the bottom shelf here. If for whatever reason we decided to add a second box up top, that capacity does drop down to 80 pounds. But in this whole kit here, you're probably only ever going to be using it on the bottom. Now, for the ski carrier up top, if you're familiar with rooftop ski and snowboard carriers, that's going to be pretty much the exact same. It's got that large button on the outside. It springs open to put our gear inside of between these thick jaws. And some things with that to keep in mind are going to be the usable space. That's going to let us know how much we can fit in here. So from inside edge to inside edge, it's about 25.5 inches of space from side to side. So lay out your gear at home and see if that's going to fit within those lengths. The other thing to point out is that with our skis today, we've got them set up side by side rather than stacked on top of each other. With the way these are spread out, it just didn't quite work out with our bindings that have the bindings in the middle. that spread between the two carriers is going to be 21 inches center to center. And then from inside edge to inside edge there, it's going to be 17.5 inches. So if you're worried about binding clearance, maybe check out that measurement and see how it fits with your gear as well. And just keep those things in mind. Now, we also want to check out how this fits on our vehicle. And before we get into the measurement related things, I want to talk about just the general fitment. We can see with the low profile nature of our ski and snowboard carrier, we get plenty of visibility out of the back window. So looking in our rear view mirror, while we will still see this, it's not going to be obstructing our view. For things like the taillights, this does sit pretty well out of the way. It's probably going to be a little bit obstructed though, especially if we have this ski and snowboard carrier fully loaded up with gear. So do be mindful of that. But overall, it's not really blocking it too much. What is blocked is your license plate though. If you're living in or passing through a state where that needs to be visible, that's something to be very wary of. One way you can fix that and the taillight issue though is to get the extra kit that mounts onto the EXO system, giving us our 4-pole wiring that passes through, giving us those taillights and turn signals at the back end, and an extra license plate bracket so we can move that out to a more visible location. The 4-pole wiring is already run through the EXO system, so you don't have to worry about that. The only thing you have to worry about is if you've got 4-pole wiring on your vehicle. If you don't already have that, no worries, you can find that here at eTrailer. Just plug in your vehicle information into our fit guide and find the right kit for you. As far as measurements on the vehicle go, from the back bumper, the furthest out point of the vehicle, to the end of the carrier, right here at the ski and snowboard buttons, is going to be 38 inches. So do be mindful of that when you're driving around and pulling into things like parking spaces. This will take up a considerable amount of room. If that's not something you want to mess with, a roof-mounted ski and snowboard carrier or a roof-mounted box are probably going to be better options for you. But again, if you don't mind that extra distance added to the vehicle, then this is going to be a great solution because it gets it all closer to the ground, easy to access. And this is going to be modular, like I said before. How does that work? It's going to be really straightforward. At the end of each arm here is going to be a tab that we can press in or out. In this position, there's a small arrow on it indicating we're ready to swap accessories. And with the handle in the unlocked position, we can spin it to loosen up the clamp right here in the arm. Once that's loosened, our accessory can just slide out. We've got these cleats that'll slide in and get clamped down. Now, obviously for the ski and snowboard carrier, you do that on both sides. But for things like this box, you have to loosen up both and pull it out at the same time. The new accessory then would just drop into place, tighten down with that hand knob, clamping onto the cleat of the accessory, firmly in place, push that tab, and then lock it up so no one can mess with it when you're not around. Now, that lock on the hand knob is important to point out because there are several locking points around the carrier. All of the hand knobs are going to lock, the box comes locking, the lock for the top shelf, and the lock on our hitch pin. Some things that aren't locking are going to be your ski and snowboard carriers. So you can pick up extra lock cores for those to make sure they're secure, but be sure to pick up some extra lock cores because not everything is necessarily going to be key to like. Especially if you get new accessories down the road, those definitely aren't going to be key to like. So if you want everything to be matching and under one system so you'll only have to bring one key with you when you're on your trips, then you'll need to pick up extra lock cores. Now, speaking of that hitch lock, that's going to be down here on the hitch pin. It's an anti-rattle bolt that keeps things surprisingly solid for this whole size of the system here. Everything's pretty much rock solid. Some things like this hand knob and the hand knob up top that thread in also make those points of movement somewhat like anti-rattle devices. So by threading, they stay very still and solid. Something to point out is that it's only going to be working with a 2" by 2" receiver tube because just the whole thing empty is going to be just shy of about 150 pounds, so it's definitely a heavy system. Then you start thinking about all that weight that you add in when you load it up full of stuff. You need a hitch in a vehicle that can handle that kind of weight. Luckily, your Grand Cherokee L doesn't have to worry about that because the hitch and the vehicle are built very tough and able to handle that kind of weight. So this is the perfect vehicle for something like this. Just keep in mind that it's only for that 2" by 2" receiver tube and to tighten everything down very firmly whenever you're installing it. And that's really all there is to it. This is really just the look at this and how it fits on the Grand Cherokee L. If you want to learn more about the EXO system and this kit and all the other options available for it, be sure to check out the full review on this page or on any of the other kit pages. There's tons of information about these EXO systems, and all the different kits really present a ton of possibilities. I think it fits very well in the Grand Cherokee L here, especially if you're looking for a good way to carry your skis and snowboards. This is a very sizable carrier, so you're going to be able to fit plenty of gear on it, and it's going to be very accessible down here on the ground versus something that's on the roof of an already tall vehicle. Plus, we get the option for the enclosed box on the bottom, so any sort of other ski and snowboard gear, helmets, gloves, anything like that that we want to keep safe and enclosed from the elements can be down here. Again, easy to access, but locked up and safe and sound. And that'll do it for our look at the Yakima EXO SwingAway ski and snowboard carrier with the enclosed storage box and seeing how it fits on our 2021 Jeep Grand Cherokee L. Thanks for watching.